Hey, this is Steven here with Jerry. This is our first podcast for the Owner Operator Equipment Truck Transport School Group. So, in this podcast, this first episode, episode one, we're going to be talking about how Jerry got started in his trucking career, and we plan on doing this podcast quite often. So, we'll see how this goes. Let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and Jay, you can get started talking about how you got into trucking and where you started and where you are now. Today is August 17th. Go ahead.
I got started because I started working for a rental company, uh, washing equipment, and then either you move to a mechanic or to a truck driver, and I chose the truck driver route.
So how long did you? So your brother got you into trucking, correct? That got you started, and he passed your resume around, or did you do a cold application, or?
Now he just talked to the manager and asked them if they needed anybody to be in the wash rack, and he basically told me to apply, and the manager set up an interview and all that. So like my brother put in the word for me,
Okay,
basically.
but you've met people that have started cold, or most people get internal references to start.
Not a lot of people. Yeah, like how, like trucking or just in the.
In the general, get their start, like get into the yard and then start from there.
Yeah, not just people be applying online. They find the. But yeah, mostly a lot of people do get recommended, but not like if you apply, you could go on Sunstate or whatever, any rental company and apply, and they'll call you for interview.
But is it pretty common to get in with that cold without a reference?
Oh yeah.
Okay, okay. So then you started out first washing equipment or washing trucks. So just basically,
Equipment.
so washing equipment. So you started washing equipment, and then what was next after that? How long was the washing equipment?
Uh, I want to say like 8 months.
And also, what year was it?
2016.
16. Okay. So 8 months, and then what'd you do after washing trucks?
I was like promoted to this like parts runner called slash like delivery driver. So I was supposed to be getting parts and stuff for the equipment and the
Mm-hmm.
trucks or whatever.
Service department, basically.
Yeah, and then but at the same time they would like ask me if I could run out like emergency deliveries like scissor lips, like skid steers,
With what? With the truck and trailer?
truck and trailer, double axle trailer.
Okay, so 8 months washing trucks. Then you did this parts run, and it also you started getting into truck and trailer. Did not have commercial driver's license. Had normal driver's license at
Yeah,
this point. How long did you do that?
I want to say like a year.
Okay, so 1 year. So you're at a year. You're at a year, basically a year and 8 months. So 8 months and then a year, and that you were doing parts, but you weren't servicing equipment.
No, I wasn't servicing
So you
equipment.
were just getting parts from, I'm guessing some sort of parts depot like we have for, like I have for my truck and things like in your truck, like was it
Yeah, like
Fleet
yeah,
Pride and
Libra,
these ones?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
stuff like that.
So you were running parts for Fleet Pride, and then you were running emergency stuff when basically they had nobody else to deliver it, pretty
Yeah.
much. Okay, so then you did that for a year, and then what did you do after that?
Yeah, I got my commercial and I quit that job and applied somewhere else at a different company
Hmm.
and I started driving a semi,
Okay.
class A semi.
While doing your commercial at the same time, and we briefly talked about that in Q&A. Can you go into how you got your commercial?
Uh, I would drive the semi trucks in the yard. Um,
And that was
just
usually at that 1 year of when you were driving
that was
trucks.
the 8 months that I was in the wash rack.
Oh, okay, so you already started driving the trucks
No,
around the yard.
yeah, I was just jumping them and like 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 try to drive them, like learn how to back them up and just turn with the trailer and so and then I would jump in when the drivers were get to the yard and unload. I would help them unload and stuff.
Hmm.
And sometimes I would jump in there with them and they'd like teach me like like how to float gears and all that.
So that was during the 8 months.
Yeah.
So you would say that you were pretty proficient in tight areas within that 8 months because the yard's pretty small. I mean, it's big, but it's not. It's not.
Nah, it was like twice the size of that one that we went to.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. Twice the size. It's
Yeah,
right along.
it was way bigger.
Okay. So it wasn't as, but you could make it challenging if wanted, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to be careful of the company equipment, but
Yeah.
okay. So you were driving that around 8 months, and then at what point did you start to do your commercial driver's license? At some point in that one year,
Yeah, at
driving
that point,
trucks.
yeah, at some point I went that one year, and then so
So
how I
how was the company? So that was on your own time, or the company supported that, or how did that
what?
work? That CDL.
Oh, nah. Well, at first I was doing it. So how I started like getting my class my CDL. This the owner of this trucking school, he would rent some trucks from us, like Class B water trucks,
Mm-hmm.
because he would rent them to go do the test, the
Mm-hmm.
driving test for the DMV.
Right. Right.
And I was in the yard slash wash rack, so I had to go get him the water truck and do the paperwork. And I
So you
asked him,
deliver it to the DMV for
nah,
somebody to use to
he
drive.
picked it up at the
Oh,
yard.
he picked it up. Okay.
And then I was like, hey, I'm trying to get my Class A. And then he's like, yeah, come on, buy one of these. We'll take care of you and stuff. And then he gave me his card, and I'm like, oh. So that's when I like took it seriously on getting my Class A.
And
When
that's sometime in that one year.
yeah,
Okay.
and then I went and he told me, he's all like he's like, get your permit, because then without your permit we can't get on the road or nothing, you know. But
And so this is one of not the instructors, but this is a person that does the review that decides whether or not it's what's it like, not test taker. What are these called?
he was basically like the teacher, like the
Oh, okay. So he's in a school. This
yeah,
is
he owns a
DMV or a
truck,
school?
you know, he owns a trucking school.
Okay, so it's a school, not the DMV.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
so
school.
he's renting the trucks to teach people how to do the CDL.
Well,
And the
he was renting the truck
Mhm.
to go do the testing.
Okay. So,
You
okay.
know what I mean?
Sending them to the DMV in the water truck.
Yeah.
Hey, do this to get your CDL
Yeah.
and
Well,
pass the
yeah.
test.
The
The practical.
the trucking instructor was there. He'll go with you.
I see.
So to do the test.
So he was renting. He didn't have his own trucks. He was renting the water trucks as well for testing.
Yeah, good. Yeah, he had his own trucks, but
For helping people learn.
it was easier for that water truck for the Class B's, because it's just one single, like it's not no trailer connected or nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was like simpler and easier.
Okay, so then you went and you got your permit. How did that go when you got your permit?
I started going to the when I got my permit. They actually let me go on ride-alongs here and there with truck drivers.
Okay, at the yard.
No, on the road.
Right, but I mean for the company
Yeah,
you're
for the
working for,
yeah,
not the place, not this guy with the school.
yeah, not at the school. So then I was learning a lot right there from the company drivers that I would
Mm-hmm.
go on ride-alongs with.
Mm-hmm.
So when I did get my permit and then started going to the trucking school to learn to walk around and the skills test, we jumped on the road, and then the instructor's like, "Oh, you already know a lot. Like I'm gonna book your appointment."
For
And
a permit
huh?
for
No, for the driving test.
over the test.
Yeah, and then
And then what about the practical? So I mean the theory. So the theory, the written test.
oh yeah, that was you just go and take a test. That's
There's a textbook or something involved, or there's just some online learning material. This was probably at this point 2017,
2016,
2018.
17. I had the back then they used to do the tests were handwritten tests.
Okay,
So now everything's on the computer and stuff.
right, but how'd you? What's the learning
Somebody,
material?
one of my truck driver friends gave me his old
Text was like a
yeah,
textbook or a
it's like
soft cover.
his packet,
Oh, okay. So
his old written test,
Okay.
because
Oh,
they
okay,
used to
okay.
give it back to you.
Mm. Okay, so he basically gave you, hey, this is what you're gonna be tested on.
Yeah, so his test, he had it, and like all the right answers were right there, or the ones that he got wrong,
Right.
and I just practiced. I went over it, and I think I even downloaded the app, the CDO app.
And then it had like
Yeah,
some
that helps a lot
some
too.
questions and things like that.
That helps a lot too. Yeah.
So okay, so then you within this year, most likely, that's why you stopped driving the truck and trailer, right? Because you got your CDL and then you started going into semi. So, how long do you think from this guy giving giving you his card to getting CDL? Do you think it was?
Probably like 4 months, 3 4 months.
So 4 months. The guy gives you your card and says, "Hey, you should work on your CDL." You do your CDL, but you have some help with people in your trucking rental that is helping you getting behind the wheel tests uh, in the field. Now, what would you think if somebody wasn't wasn't that receptive to doing that? How
Um,
long? It would probably take significantly longer, right? You would have to go to that guy that was doing the instruction and get the instruction on somebody that is willing to help you. Because maybe somebody cold calls, they don't know anybody there, or cold applies, doesn't know anybody there, and they say, "Hey, I'm
yeah,
not gonna help you jump on the road and
yeah.
you drive for me or something like that."
It just depends. I think it depends on the person. Like, how bad do you want your Class A? Because when I got there, there were some people that like failed the test like 3 times, the driving test. Like they couldn't pass it,
Mm,
and they've been there for months.
mm.
And then there's other people that
They
that
were they doing any behind the?
yeah, they were
So they were doing some
they were doing
driving.
yeah, they just couldn't pass the test.
I see.
And there was other people that would go and get it quick, like in 2 months, like that never drove a truck before,
I
and they
see.
would get it like in two, pretty fast.
So the ideal situation is obviously to get behind the wheel with somebody that's from the yard that you're working at, that's
Yeah. And
experienced.
the big issue is they don't you don't. It's not even like the driving. They fail the air brakes test, the walk around,
Mm.
or even the skills test. You know.
So different sections of the
Yeah,
practical,
that's most
basically,
of the
the
that I
hands-on.
know.
I see. Okay, so within that year, in like 4 months, so let's say you did what is this the math? 8 months of driving the truck, and then 4 months overlap of driving the pickup truck and trailer, and then you started to do your CDL, and then you got your CDL. So 8 months. So at this first yard, you were washing equipment for 8 months. Then the next year, you were driving truck trailer and working on your CDL for 4 months. Inside that 1 year, and then what happened after that?
Then I had my CDL for like a few months, and then I started applying like where could I get a job where I'm
And so
driving a semi.
each of these sections you jumped locations.
No, all those is the same.
Okay, this is the same yard. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you started the same yard didn't want to get you in a truck. They didn't have availability.
Well, they wanted me to get on like on a Class B truck,
Mm,
but I wanted to drive a semi, because
right.
yeah, I got my Class A. I'm like, nah, I want a semi, and they're
Okay.
like, they wanted
Okay.
me to start like from small trucks, big like medium sized truck, and then
Right.
the biggest truck,
Right. Right.
stuff like that.
So
But
they wanted to step you up, but you wanted to
yeah, I wanted to
go.
like to jump on the.
But when you were doing your ride-alongs, most of that was in semi.
Yeah,
When you were
yeah,
preparing for this one, and your
yeah.
test was in a water truck, basically.
Nah, I was on a tractor and trailer.
Tractor trailer.
Yeah,
Okay, so you did your CDL in also a tractor
yeah.
trailer. Okay,
The
so
water truck's only if you want your Class B.
oh, Class B, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so they didn't want to get you into the next. They didn't want to get you in the next stage. So you go and move to the next. You go and move to the next yard that would allow you to do what you wanted to do, which is to go in a semi truck. And that was a couple months. You found you, and then you had an internal reference, or you cold applied.
One of my old managers actually worked there, and I called him, and yeah, he's like apply, and he set up an interview, and he hired me.
Okay. And then what does the interview look like? They do you like when you have your CDL and you go to a place and you say, "Hey, I want to drive semi truck." What do they do?
Well, I don't
You
know.
just sit
It was
down,
yeah. You sit down, and
but there's no practical. There's no like, "Hey, I want to see you behind the wheel" or anything like that.
well, it was different because that manager knew me
Oh,
already.
okay,
I
okay,
worked
okay,
for him before, so he
okay,
knew how I worked and all that. He actually he's the one that hired me at that first company
okay.
where I
And then he
did all that,
moved.
and then yeah, and then he moved.
Right, right.
So
So you were that manager moved from your first location to your second location and the second yard, and that allowed you to get into the second yard. And the interview was not hands on; it was just sitting down, standard, like almost like interviewing for a desk job.
yeah,
Correct. Okay, and then what did you start doing there right off the bat? You started right away semi truck,
yeah, right away.
semi truck trailer moving, and then obviously with all of this, guys, this is equipment transport. So all of this is equipment transport. There's no freight here.
No,
So you started semi truck and trailer equipment transport, and you were moving, big stuff. Obviously, your limit on the semi truck is what after all of its weight. How much equipment load can you put on?
uh, like 34,000.
Okay, so 34,000 limit, and you did that for how long with the semi truck?
Uh, like 7 years, 6, 7 years around that.
Okay, 6, 7 years. Okay, and then some moving equipment, semi truck, and trailer. And then what did you do after that?
Right after that, I went somewhere else. I went to another company. I was driving, and then I was driving a rollback, a three axle rollback,
Class A.
Class A.
And how did you get into that new location? Cold apply? Got a internal
Yeah,
somebody.
I just applied and they
That
called
was a
me.
cold
Yeah.
apply. Okay, so no manager was there that you this one. So
Hmm.
that one was a cold apply
Yeah.
for the, and then this would have been the third yard. So third yard, you cold applied and said, "Hey, I want to get out a semi truck and trailer, and I want to get a Class A rollback." Okay, so you get into Class A roll, and then what about this interview? Somebody you didn't know.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't know nobody.
So how was the interview like?
It was it was good. They just asked me about my experience, and then they seen my resume, so they were just talking about that, and they're like, when can you start, stuff like that,
Okay,
and then how much money was I asking for,
I see.
and yeah.
Okay.
But I got that three axle because that's all they had.
Mm.
They were gonna order new
Oh,
trucks
so you
because it was a new yard.
the only reason why you got the rollback is because they didn't have a semi truck.
Yeah, because they
Oh.
were that was when
So
after the
you
whole
didn't. So the previous yard you didn't leave because you wanted to do a rollback. You left for money increase or whatever
yeah.
reason. Okay, interesting. So the only reason why, and then how did that come up in the interview? They said, "Hey, we actually don't have semi trucks. What do you think about
Yeah, they told me
rollback?"
they
And you
ordered.
said, "Hey, let's go for it."
Yeah, they told me they ordered new trucks. They were on back order, like taking a long time because the
This is
whole
probably COVID, huh?
yeah the whole COVID thing. Yeah,
COVID.
exactly.
Yep.
So everything like they were taking it took them like a year to get the trucks,
I see.
and
So then you were on a Class A rollback.
I was getting like semi wage.
Okay. So
I was on a little small truck getting semi wage because there were once the new truck got there, I was gonna jump on the trucks.
right. So then what happened when? So you were doing rollback, and it took about a year. So you were doing 1 year rollback for them, rollback Class A, and then what happens when the truck came? When the semi trucks and trailers came, you didn't go to the semi truck and trailer,
I
right?
quit.
Oh, you didn't.
Yeah.
You moved to the next yard.
Yeah, I went to the next yard. Yeah, I went back to the yard where the very first one that I started.
Okay.
They gave me way more money,
I see.
like a $7 raise.
I see.
So that's why I left.
So you went back to the first yard, and then what did you do at the first yard? And this was 1 year at that
Yeah,
yard.
so I,
with
yeah,
the
I went
rollback.
back. I went back to a semi.
And then what'd you? Okay, so you went back to the semi, but what was your overall thoughts on a rollback?
I
that
liked
1
it.
year?
I'm like, I would actually jump back, but they didn't have none.
I see. So you went back to the first yard, didn't have rollback,
Yeah, so I was like,
but they had a price. They had a wage increase.
yeah,
So you went back, and then you did semi truck for how much? How much at that yard? Back at the
let's
original yard.
see. I probably did it for like almost a year,
For another year.
and then they got new. And then they bought like new trucks, new fleet, and they brought in like 11 new rollbacks, three axles.
Classic.
And then I asked my supervisor that I wanted to jump in one.
Okay, so you waited basically, even though you didn't touch a rollback for a year, you still wanted to get back into a rollback.
Yeah,
Okay, so then 1 year, and then they got a rollback, and then how long? I think that was the last yard, right? That was the last yard that you were at until you went independent. Right?
yeah.
Okay, so how long did you do that last rollback?
The last rollback probably only like 5 months, 5 6 months.
Okay, so 5 months. And then you determined in those 5 months and also that other year of rollback Class A that you wanted to go independent with your with rollback.
Yeah,
And so why because we've talked about this in other Q&As, and the reason why you wanted to do that was because the pay was similar. It was smaller. The maintenance theoretically is less. Obviously tires are about the same size. You didn't have a trailer to worry about.
yeah.
It was easier to load equipment, I would say.
Yeah.
So anything else that I mentioned
And over here where we're at in the like where we
in the bay?
in the bay, like most of the job sites are tight. We get sent to like the mountains, San Francisco, and I mean, yeah, you
Santa
could. I did it on a semi for years, but I got tired of it. So, and then Like before I jumped on a 3 axle, I'm like, nah, I don't want to drive no 3 axle. Like I was against it.
You want a trailer,
Yeah. So, but when I got to that new company, they didn't have none,
right?
and then I was driving that
So
rollback.
maybe you,
I was
if they
like,
had a semi truck, maybe you would have never drove a
yeah,
rollback,
I would never drove
possibly.
a rollback.
Okay.
And then so I was like, man, I like the rollback stuff. Like it was so simple. I found it so easy, less stress. Like you just go anywhere and just turn around, back out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You didn't really have to like worry, like really look at your map. Like, oh, could I turn around? Am I gonna get stuck?
Right.
Like,
It's relatively maneuverable.
yeah, and it was just so easy. Like you said, loading up because the bed's way smaller. You just literally like drive up and that's it. You're
Yeah, you
loaded.
pull it up with a winch or
Yeah,
drive it up or however you need to do it, or even lift it on top of there.
and the trailers are 49 feet.
And it's pretty easily set up to chain things down. There's a lot of
Yeah,
chaining locations and how you put your chains and everything like that is very organized and all these things.
yeah.
And also the bed movement, very great to be able to drop it and load it on and take off. Okay, so now we've got basically all of your working as employee. So what made you want to start your own, go independent?
I actually I've been wanting to go independent since 2019.
Okay,
So,
and you went independent you
well,
went late
no,
20,
we bought a
2023.
truck back in 2019. So while I was in 2019, me and my brother bought a truck,
Mm,
and I was gonna do the outside hauling,
mm-hmm.
but then I was like, wait, I was like 23 years old, and
And insurance might have
the insurance
it
was
was gonna
just
be
too
really high
expensive,
and all the,
and I at the time I had a
and you would
sports
have had
car.
only 7 years of experience at that point.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but at the time I had like a sports car, and I was getting like speeding tickets,
Mm.
all kinds of. I had
So
all
insurance was gonna be really
Yeah,
high.
no, insurance was really high. I was getting quotes for like I was gonna pay like 10,000 a month.
Wow.
Some didn't even want to
Just didn't want insurance.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then some were like, oh, you gotta be older than 25 for
And you would
commercial.
have just 2019. You would have had your CDL for like 2 years.
About like four.
Oh, 4 years. Okay,
Yeah.
4 years. Okay, so then you waited. Your brother continued. Your brother went independent, and and then you continued working as an employee, waiting for these accidents and
Yeah,
tickets and things to roll off. Then you, so then you became independent. But why 5 months after back into a rollback? What?
because the opportunity came when that same company that I was working for, they were selling their trucks.
They had good deal on
Yeah, they
trucks,
had a good deal, so
right?
I was like, oh, this is the perfect time. This is my chance.
And then obviously I know about your rollback. So you fixing up the rollback was in that 5 months. That last 5 months when you went back to a rollback, approximately.
But maybe
Or is it overlapping or?
was it? You know what? I think I might have been on the roadback longer now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay. Back on the
Probably. So
rollback.
since July, and then when did I quit? May
Something like that, yeah.
or like the end of April?
July the year before?
Yeah,
Okay. So yeah, it's like 10 months or something.
10 months. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 10 months and then you had the truck, I think. So when did you buy the truck from this? And this was the same yard that you were working at.
November. Yeah, November.
So you bought it November 2023.
Yeah.
And then what did you do to the truck to get it ready? So this truck is a 2014, that's right. 2014, and in California, any heavy duty truck above 2010, you need to have a 2010 or newer engine if it can hold more than, what was the number? I think it's 16,000 pounds. 16,000 pounds. So you got 2014, so you're good there. It's got a Cummins in it. It's got a larger Cummins than it normally is supposed to.
X15.
Yeah, and it's Class A, and you already had your Class A. So, and again, this is in a different state that's very hostile to diesels. So, you got so you bought the truck, and then what all did you have to go through? You had to get your
I had to rebuild the transmission.
okay, so you rebuilt the transmission, and then what did you do as far as licensing and registration and these things? And how was that process? Pretty painless, or?
Yeah, painless. Pretty simple. You just gotta pay a shitload of money. That's it.
And then you got to get your DOT.
Oh.
Get your DOT registration and all these things, all inside that registration.
Yeah.
And then you create your LLC.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
named after your son, right? So all of that, and then you had to do, and then anything else mechanically? It was just transmission.
Just the transmission.
So all said and done, you have the truck, and then obviously we talked about this in the Q&A. Truck price varies, but all the said and done, mechanically, registration, LLC, all that stuff, and also your insurance. Let's have insurance off of this because obviously that's a monthly thing. How much did you say that you were into it, getting your truck ready to go after you bought your truck?
After probably like the registration, the LLC, all the permits and all that, probably like 15,000.
15,000. Okay, so 15,000, and no, most of those are obviously registration is yearly. I'm sure some of these have some yearly bills, but most of the pain is the upfront.
Yeah.
Is getting it started. Okay, then you're ready to go, and then let's go ahead and talk a little bit more. Then, what? So, how did you start to get jobs? So okay, so you did, and then after you got the truck, I think it was like 4 months later, then you went independent or something like that. It was
Yeah,
like 4 or 5 months.
because this year been one of the slowest years like to start for the whole like
Whole
dri-
industry, yeah.
yeah, so
Construction industry,
yeah,
basically. You're moving construction equipment, yeah.
yeah, so that's why I started kind of late in May, but
Right, basically towards the cusp of the start of summer, which
yeah.
is usually the busiest part of the
Oh,
year.
and it got real busy, like working 14. The last like a few weeks ago, I worked 20 hours in one day, from 4 a.m. to almost 1 a.m.
But this is not a salary job, though. You get
Is
paid
that
for
where I
those
really?
hours. You
Yeah.
get paid for those hours. So,
Yeah.
um, so let's see. So you stopped. You put in what, 2 weeks or something like that. You put in 2 weeks at the yard and said, "Hey, I'm gonna go independent." And then you stopped on a Friday, and I believe the first day you didn't. You just chilled out, and then you started independent on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So you went to a broker. You found a broker that when you were working at the yard to get ready to help you get jobs, correct?
Mhm.
So you got the broker, and then the broker was going to send you the work, and then it seemed right away that he had plenty of work for you. So then what would you say, like the first? So was there any pickup, or it was just instantaneous? It was like the Tuesday I think the first Tuesday,
Yeah, I picked up.
I think it was like at least 10 hours or something the first Tuesday.
Yeah.
So there was not really any sort of ramp up. It was just where it's just full 100% workload.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then you did that now for how many months now has it been?
Started in May. We're in August.
Yeah, so like 3 months.
It's gonna be a fourth month. Or?
Yeah, I think it's going to be fourth month.
Yeah.
And then we were talking earlier, and you have a new thing that you're going to do now, which is basically become your own broker.
Yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully starting next year.
Starting next year, become your own broker. Okay. All right. I think that's pretty much it for this podcast episode. So that's kind of how Jerry got started, and his history in trucking, and what led up to him getting to become independent, buying his own truck. Obviously, started out washing trucks, driving truck and trailer, then getting a CDL while driving behind the wheel with other people on their runs, and then did a semi truck trailer for 6-7 years after getting CDL, and then 1 year rollback, 1 year semi truck again, and then 5 to 10 months of rollback, and then going independent. So out of this, you would say what, 3 yards? Or
3 yards. Yeah.
3 yards.
Yeah.
So out of this, it worked for 3 different yards. Obviously, moved 4 times because one was the same yard twice. So moved 4 times in this. What is this? Basically, sent from 2016 to 2023. So overall, a lot of experience, and working on making more money for yourself as an independent by being a broker. So we'll end it here, and we will start another podcast later on to talk about another subject. Thanks for the audience to tune in this first podcast, and we'll see you guys in the next one.